I met a gypsy.
So that was like kind of the start of, or I guess like everything that you did kind of branched off, just like adventures around Cairns.
Yeah, just going and doing stuff. Because as you know, Cairns itself isn't that, it's just a town on a flat sort of bit of land. But everything that where you guys lived, you were always up in the mountains, weren't you? You were all up the back of Edmonton and everything. So that was the thing. We had beaches, we had the reef, we had mountains, waterfalls, and you just go there and play. And it's nearly the same. It's just a little bit further now to go.
And what about like the isolation? Because I mean, we felt isolated when we grew up, and there was way more connectivity to the rest of the country, and even just the rest of the world in general. But was it another level again, like back then? Like you just would have just felt completely on your own. Yeah,
we did, but like to go to Townsville was a big deal.
Yeah.
And to go to Brisbane. We'd drive to a supercross. We'd leave on a Friday afternoon and get in a car and drive. And your dad would come too. We'd drive to a supercross on Saturday night. So we'd finish work on a Friday afternoon and be back for work Monday morning. And that's a big epic in anybody's book anyway, But you guys would probably do that while you're growing up.
Yeah, we did it. We did a lot of that. Yeah. Who was the original, in terms of the moto scene up there? Like, who were some of the OG dudes that kind of like kickstarted the scene that maybe got like you into it? Because how did you get into dirt bikes originally?
Oh, my mate next door bought one, Eddie Hayes.
Really?
Yeah. And he bought
so Eddie was your next door neighbour?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
He had an XR75, I think. So I bought an SL125. So we had land forever out the backs, and that was fun, and we got into that. And then as we went along, there was the whole explosion of motorbikes in around that same time. But there was people like John Penelligan and Rusty Reese, of course, and it just goes on. There's so many people that were a bloke called Jose Azorio, and people that were out riding old, mining roads up around Cooktown, way out, miles away, exploring on these things. So again, the spectrum, there was people doing adventure stuff, and there's people doing motocross and trail rides, and in those early days there was a lot going on, and Cairns really exploded there more than anywhere else I knew of in Queensland, because there was just so much diversity. A lot of the rainforest and the dry country and everything like that.
Because I think for people that haven't been there, there's such a diverse landscape within like a couple of hours. Probably some of the most diverse in Australia. Maybe
would have to.
Like, I don't know that there'd be many people, like many places in Australia that would have that within, you draw 4 hours. Like what you can see.
An hour you're somewhere, and now the exciting thing is that there's, in a couple of pockets, one pocket has about 200k as single track. Another pocket has 200k as single track, and bloody hell, that didn't exist before.
Was that was the first vision of yours of what trails could be like in Cairns?
I don't know if again, I think it was a fluid organic approach.
It just happened sort of over time, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know. We built a trail for the Queensland Championships around AJ Hackett Bungee.
Yeah.
And we just thought that's what you did, because I came from a motorbike background, so you had trails, so you just actually build them. And when everybody came to race that, we were lucky to have a lot of the UCI and head, people from Melbourne and Sydney and everything came to that event, because it was in Cairns. It was like, let's go there. It's a holiday. Place, So let's go to this Queensland Championship. And the first thing that came back was, we're riding on single track. We usually ride on dirt roads.
So is that what it was before? Like, is that what downhill kind of was originally? It's just like taped off fire roads, and you just kind of went from the bottom of a fire road to the top of a fire road.
Oh, downhill.
Top to the bottom.
Yeah, we Wade and Lindsay and all them, we went to the Australian Championships in Canberra, and we were training like anything, the steepest, nastiest tracks, just off cliffs everywhere, because we thought that's what the Australian Downhill Championships would be. And we cut our seat posts right down, because the seats had to be bloody right up against the frame, because we're going down. And we turned up there, and it started at the top of a hill and went down on the dirt road. And these guys were pedaling, like, hang on, that's not what we're here for, you know. And it's a funny story about that. We had piled up in a rent-a-car, again, you know, like drove from Cairns down there. All of us piled up in a rent-a-Tarago and shoved all our bikes in there somehow. And on the way back, we were trying to work out who can we sell these mountain bikes to, you know, because this is not our sport.
Really?
If that's what it is, that's not us.
Holy.
You know,
That is sick.
and that's within only being maybe 7-8 months into the activity, sport of mountain biking, and because we had just gone to the Australian Championships, and this is not us. This is not. We thought mountain biking was something else.
Yeah.
So somewhere around Mackay, between Mackay and Townsville, from Canberra,
Yeah.
a long way, and we were working out. Oh yeah, I can offload mine to this person. They'll buy that, and we were just going to get. We didn't know what we were going to get into.
It's
you know.
going in paper.
But by the time we got to, you know, nearly home, a couple of us went, hang on, we're so far away from anybody,
Just do
everybody else, why don't we just do what we do?
Yeah.
We don't need to go away to races. And we thought about, well, we were having so much fun doing what we were doing, dropping off cliffs and doing that type of shit. I remember one thing, you know, somebody said, like, you know, a hill is so steep, if a tree grows on it, well, it must be okay.
Yeah.
It mustn't be that steep if a tree can grow on it. And we'd be out looking for stuff like that. But, yeah, so we said, well, look, why don't we just do what we do? We're in a cocoon. We're so far away from anywhere else. Let's just do what we do.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. We don't have to go away racing at all or anything. And that's what we did.
That's so sick.
And
That
we
is
filmed it at the same
insane.
time. You know, so.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.